Still got the Christmas hangover going.
Still got the Christmas. Yeah. Did you get anything good for Christmas, by the way?
No.
No? Did you get anything for Christmas?
I did buy myself something for Christmas.
That's terrible. All right, enough about Kayla's non-existent Christmas presents. By the way, so now you two, I finally got you two together, Scott and Kayla.
First time we met.
Because I feel like you deserve each other. And
I'm sorry.
I think we deserve something
You're in a lot of trouble.
because of how much we interact with you.
yeah, probably.
Hey, y'all got nothing on me.
Yeah, that's true. He's got it the worst. So, speaking of parenting, Christmas movie parents. This idea came to me during the pre-Christmas season when you start watching the Christmas movies, and I thought, most of these Christmas movie parents are not very good.
No.
Like, they're terrible. They're varying degrees of terrible, and they're terrible in different ways. And I thought, it would be fun to do an episode on like which Christmas movie parents are the worst. So we're all looking at the board up here. I don't think Trevor hasn't put it on the screen yet, but because he's wandering around aimlessly in the studio. So we put this little board together.
This is pretty good.
So that we can decide. These are the four. When you think about Christmas movie parents, these are four of the prime examples.
For sure.
Right? We got Ralphie's parents, which have no names, by the way. It's just the old man and mom. Did you know that they don't have names?
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, they don't have. It's just the old man and mom. There's no names.
I heard my old man use that word.
Yeah. And then you got and you got Russ and Audrey's parents, and Clark and
Ellen.
Ellen, are you smoking?
Oh, Mom.
And then we got the McAllisters.
It's Christmas. We're all miserable.
That's right. The McAllisters who have that puzzled look on their face like they always have. And then we have, the awkward arrangement of Charlie's parents, which is Scott and shut up. What's the mom's name?
I only remember Neil.
And then Neil. You see, we got Neil. We got Neil peeking in from the background. I felt like we had to. Neil was kind of part of the parenting dynamic there, so we got to. So as we think about this, we need to
learned
consider
a lot of words from Neil.
Yeah, I learned a lot.
Words and sweaters. What else does a father?
Yeah, words and sweaters. So, by the way, he's great in Beverly Hills Cop. I just want to say that, Judge.
Oh, Neil, yeah.
He's great. He's great in Beverly Hills. All right, so
Boy, that's an old movie.
now it's not that old.
It's debatable.
Even for
It's
me,
in
that's
color. It's in color. I mean, how old could it be? Now, you guys are both familiar with all these movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kayla, actually, what she told me was that she knows every line of every one of them.
Really?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's impressive.
I own all of these movies.
Oh, sure. Well, owning is easy. Anyone can own a movie. But to know it.
But when do you start
watched
watching
Home
them?
Alone in
know it.
quite some time.
I start watching them at the beginning of November. That's how
Wow.
sick in the head I get.
That's, yeah.
Where I'm like,
pretty
okay,
early.
this is enough of this mess for this year. It's Christmas.
I just wanted it to be Christmas, damn it. This is weird.
We don't do anything till after Thanksgiving. We're a good Black Friday
Yeah.
family.
I mean, it technically, according to the old calendar, Christmas started on Christmas Day. That was the first day of Christmas.
Yeah,
That's why when you look at the really old movies, like It's a Wonderful Life, they're decorating the Christmas tree on Christmas Eve because that was really because everything up to that was Advent. You're not really supposed to be happy yet. So Christmas starts then. All right. Now, down the left side of this board, we picked out 5. So these are 5 characteristics and we're all parents, right? Yours are still younger, right? So
No, we're still believing.
So you have
Pressure's on, buddy.
Hey, my kids are in their mid to late 20s, and they still believe because we warned them. You know what happens when you stop believing?
You stop receiving.
it's probably some truth.
So we're all in on Santa. He shows up all the time.
But but we're not talking about Santa. We're talking about good or bad parenting. Kayla's kids are still young enough that you still have a chance like to not screw it up.
Yeah.
There's still time for
I
you.
question it daily.
Scott and I, our kids are all grown.
Like, what did I do today that could make one of these children a serial killer?
Anything really, it could be anything.
Yeah.
So, but there are a few things that as parents we know that we're not supposed to be. Like there are these traits that we're not supposed to have. So we picked 5 of those, and we'll just go. And so, what do you think, Trev? Should we do one pair of parents at a time and do all 5 traits, or should we go like across the board for each one?
Go by trait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All 5, kind of by trait. All 4, excuse me. Yeah, there were 5 originally.
I thought we were about to have to surprise grade ourselves. I was like, this isn't, I didn't sign up for this, buddy.
Right at the screen is ourselves. All right.
That'd be
so we're
frightening.
gonna start with the trait of being disconnected, and we can rate each parent individually because in some cases they're not the same. So we got Ralphie's parents, the old man and mom, being disconnected. What do we think?
I mean, I think the dad was disconnected, but I don't think the mom was. She did everything for those freaking kids, man.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The dad he's clearly disconnected, but he's paying attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not engaged.
It's also more of like the times that the movie was made in.
Yeah,
He's probably not doing anything wrong.
It's set in the 40s, although
Yeah.
you would never know that by her hair.
Yeah.
But everything else in the movie does look like the 40s.
Yes.
And you're right. The dad, I mean, dads were. This was long before the age of helicopter power. So, but he does seem a little disconnected. Like he's like at the table reading the paper, and he doesn't really.
But then he's the one that gets him the Red Ryder BB gun, so you can't be that disconnected.
and-
all of these parents
deals
have
with dinner
some sort
and-
of redemption at the end. So I think we have to keep that in mind. But
So I would agree that in this chart, I would call him more disengaged than disconnected because he's clearly paying attention to what's
going on?
what's going on. Otherwise, he doesn't come up with the Red Ryder BB gun at the end. Somewhere along, right?
We should say, Trev. We need a ruling. Does disengaged fall under disconnected?
No, those are different words.
I know they're different words.
So then there are different words for.
But do we ding him? Do we ding him in the disconnected category?
I
because
would.
he's-
I
For
would
the sake of this.
really.
Well, what about the
I would,
lamp?
yeah.
The lamp.
That was pretty disconnected of him.
Who used up all the glue?
No way, man. I feel like
Ideally.
I feel like some of these other examples that we're going through, like this man is not disconnected.
He's not disconnected.
He's just a dad in the 40s. He's got a lot of things on his mind.
Yeah.
But we're gonna judge him by those standards or by standards now.
I don't know. All right. So unlike some of our previous scoring boards where we each got to put our own score, we have to reach some
have
sort of
to-
consensus on this. So I could go either way. I get the point. I think he's paying attention.
I could go. Like I said, I
He's
feel-
not.
He's certainly not engaged in helping deal with the situation.
But he knows what's going on.
But he knows what's going on.
He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
What do you think? Okay,
He takes them to the friggin' parade and the mall.
it's true.
That's not disconnected.
Tackles the beast in the.
I feel pretty connected. I don't want to take my kids to parades or malls.
All right, so neither one of them gets so they're both going to retain their red and green Christmas spirit, and we're going to move on to
He's not happy with the way that vote went.
Clark and Ellen, Rusty and Audrey's parents. I think so. I'm inclined to give Clark.
He might be too connected.
Like he's connected to all the wrong things.
Yeah. Yeah. Like they never talk about their own
like
kids.
a fantasy in his head of what things.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, like-
daydreaming about his pool.
Does he really know? Well, I mean, for good reason.
Which when my kids saw that scene, they were like, "What? Why is the bathing suit hitting the window? What's happening?"
Yeah. Did you explain it?
No, hell no. I just
You're
said,
supposed to.
I gotta go downstairs.
Okay. So what kind of a parent are you? You're supposed to get up and
Pause.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation about that.
Remember the days when the VHS, like
Oh, yeah.
you'd pause, but then you'd accidentally pause like this, the image is still on the screen,
Right, yeah.
And you're like, and you paused on the part that they're not supposed to be seeing, and then you're like frantically trying to hit the button. So I gotta, you know, I think they're. If you ask Clark and Ellen, do they really know what's going on with their kids? Like, do they have are they clued in?
No.
Clark is not.
Clark is not.
Clark
All right,
is not.
Let's give Clark. Clark gets
Coal?
a half a piece of coal. He gets the second half. The question is, does Ellie get coal? Ellen. Does Ellen get coal?
Yeah. She's just like chain smoking cigs.
Yeah.
And
Also not really.
I mean, the one thing we got to give Clark and Ellen is they were under the most duress of all these parents.
They did it
They
to
had the
themselves.
most crazy shit going on.
The worst people that aren't on the board are the grandparents from Christmas vacations. They're
But all right. But at least in the circumstances in which we observe her, Ellen's not really. We're going to give her coal too. So Clark and Ellen get coal. All right. Now, these are the ones that I believe are
the most
the
disconnected.
champions of being disconnected.
disconnected.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean,
I mean, that's from the very. No, I don't know if it's the first scene, but from the breakfast scene where he's getting bullied and they're just like paying no attention.
it's
What's going on?
When Kevin says I'm the only one getting crapped on, it's because he's the only one getting crapped on, and his parents are in the room when it's happening, and
Yeah.
they don't see it.
They're totally disconnected.
Yeah. Did you want to rag on them at all while you're?
I mean, I would probably just give them coal just straight down, but we're not going that way.
There might be. Yeah, that was my first thought as I was thinking about this. Is I was like, the McAllisters are going to lose,
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
I think. And not just because they forgot their kid, right?
No, it's just all of it.
oh, but I mean the whole. I mean, it's the freaking. It's just.
Yeah, all right, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right, now we get to the happy trio. Scott Calvin and Laura.
Yes.
Laura. And Neil. I don't. Laura and Neil, if anything, they're the opposite of disconnected. They're a little too connected, I think. I think they're too preoccupied with whatever is going on.
Disconnection.
Is that disconnection?
I think it can go one way or the other.
But-
Because they're clearly not connected to their kids' needs, which is a flourishing imagination. Because of Neil in his sweater.
I didn't think we were going to get this philosophical about it.
But I would say that Laura is she's caught in between two bad places. Like I think she sees it. I think she's connected.
Yeah.
I think she sees.
I
what's
think they're
going on.
both connected. Like,
What was wrong with Scott?
what do you mean?
What was...
Why were they getting divorced?
Well, you say you're stuck between two bad places. What are those bad places?
Well, so Scott on the other side is, not denial is probably the wrong word, but I mean, I think about the kid sitting on the bed, after the first Christmas, and he's pretending to be Santa Claus, wants to take over the family business, blah blah blah, and Laura walks in with Neil, and they're like, Scott, we really, you're letting him wallow in these, crazy ideas.
Yeah.
And Scott on the other side is going, I don't know if it's quite disconnected, but he's like, it's like, I've got other things to worry about. I'm just not.
Like, come on, folks. Yeah.
And so I feel like she's caught in between Neil, who's, way off in psychology land, and Scott, who's off in, I'm dealing with getting fat and all these other things going on in my world. That
even before, so I think even before, if you look at where he, by the way, you need a refill here. I'll let you. There's the ice right in there. The ice.
As a mother, what does she do?
What does she do
professionally?
No. As a mother,
Professionally.
as a mother?
what does she ever?
What
do?
role does she play in this?
Well, you never really see them outside of him and Neil interacting, but she's at the soccer game.
Yeah.
When Santa shows up for the soccer game. I mean, she's holding him to the custody agreements and stuff. And like, I really like her at the end because she, burns the custody agreement.
So then just like in the beginning, like takes him to the soccer games and holds him accountable to the custody agreement. But those are all like the mandatory things that she doesn't have much of a choice to do. So like as a mom, what mom attributes does she really, I don't know, what's her saving grace in the beginning?
I think I think the most telling part about the parents in the Santa Claus is everything that happens before this transformation of, they go to the North Pole and he becomes Santa Claus. Like, that's the beginning. Like, all of these parents have some sort of redemption at the end, which is brought on by the circumstances of whatever happens in the movie. So they all have some sort of thing. So we have to really judge them the way they were before that. And in the Santa Claus, the transformation begins very early. But if you look at how it was in the very beginning, Charlie doesn't want to spend Christmas with his dad, right? And he's telling his mom, "You'll be here in the morning. Sun up, you're here. Do you promise?" So I'm thinking that prior to like all the Santa Claus stuff happening, Scott was pretty disconnected. Charlie didn't really want to spend time with him, and he certainly felt like his mom seemed. There must have been something good going on there because
he wanted her.
He wanted to stay. He wanted his mom to come get him. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think either of them are disconnected.
Well, Scott was originally, I think, before he started becoming Santa Claus, right?
Yeah, it was probably. I mean, we don't know what happened with the divorce, but it probably was right because again, Charlie is clearly wants to stay with. He doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to be there.
Right.
So something happened.
So you're a mom. How should we interpret that?
What do you mean?
What?
I don't think it matters how they were at the beginning or the end of the movie. Like, the whole movie is about he becomes Santa Claus and...
Okay, fine. We'll leave them both like that.
...learns and becomes a better dad. And then the rest of the Santa Claus movies that they make, like, Mom's not even in there.
Yeah, well, the rest of them, Disney got a hold of it. The first one was made by somebody else who was distributed through Disney, and then somebody else made the other ones.
Can I just tell you a secret about this movie?
Yeah.
I don't like watching it.
Why?
Because it reminds me of when I was younger, because I'm just about to be 38. So this was actually in theaters when I was a kid.
You were a kid, yeah.
And it was my first sleepover.
Oh.
And so we went and we watched this in the theaters, and then we went back to have the sleepover, but I got too scared and I had to call my mom to come pick me up. And I swear to God, I think about that. Actually, I was totally fine until they made, like, everyone wanted to drink Tang. And I was just like,
start drinking Tang. I
was like, what is this powdered horse?
So you have this bad association. That explains the look you had on your face when we got to this movie. I thought maybe you were just having some gas or something, but really,
no. I just really don't like this movie.
Don't like this movie.
It's painful. Like, my kids love it.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll move on to the next
hate watching it.
So, are we going to give Scott a disconnected or not? We can't spend too long on this. No? What do you think?
I don't think so.
I would say yes, but I can go with the majority.
I think yes too. We're going to give him.
Okay.
We're going to give him. Scott gets disconnected. To the right. Scott. Oh, okay. But not Laura. Okay.
Not Laura.
Now, self-centered. Self-centered meaning that I'm more interested in what's going on with me than I am in what's going on with my family or my kids. Mm-hmm. So, or we're not talking narcissistic necessarily. We're just talking about more self-centered.
What's driving our actions, sort of thing.
I mean, the dad's totally self-centered.
Yeah, dad's
just about the lamp and his bowling.
That's probably true.
He's the newspaper at breakfast, and
that's what he is. Back to your point about he wasn't really disconnected. He's paying attention. He's just not interested.
Yeah, he's
more interested in his own business. Yeah.
I think Mom's the opposite.
He's an Oldsmobile man.
He's an Oldsmobile, is he?
Yeah. Now the mom.
There's just like not much you can hate about this mom, though. Like, does she ever really do anything bad? Like, She hides Ralphie's fight. She makes all their meals. She says he can't have a gun, but like, that's probably good.
It's a BB gun.
I mean, he does almost shoot his eye out.
He does.
He's got glasses on. He's protected. It's not
He
like
is.
he was out without eye
That
protection.
was kind of a failure on parental supervision.
I don't think. I think the mom is. Yeah, you're right. She's certainly living for everyone else and not for herself.
Yeah.
She's certainly not.
You know, she doesn't even.
And those damn dogs ruin her turkey at the end too. Like I would have gone ballistic.
Everybody up.
We are going out.
We're going out.
Tweets.
I would have lost it, especially after a glass of wine that morning.
Yeah, that's true.
I would have been on edge.
That's true. I think the mom is definitely. She's anything but self-centered. Now, I think Clark and
Clark's clearly
they're both
self-centered. He's
self-centered.
completely.
Yeah.
Clark is intent on having the best Christmas ever for himself.
Yeah.
Like he
claims
he's doing
he claims
it
it for everyone else,
but it's
he's-
everything that he
he's
wants.
really doing
Ultimately, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Clark gets a coal on that. Now, Ellen,
For sure.
you think so? Why?
Yes.
Why is Ellen self-centered?
Yeah. Why?
I mean, the only thing she cares about is her image with the parents. She's like
With
always
her
sneaking
grandparents?
everything, sneaking
Yeah.
cigs.
Yeah.
But is she making up for Clark?
What do you mean?
Is she picking
She's
up
trying
the
to keep
slack,
everyone cool.
making up for Clark's disconnect?
Like she's kind of in the middle trying to hold it all together?
Yeah, because is she like the only person who's doing that?
She is remarkably like understanding and accommodating of him,
Yeah.
right?
She fixed the lights.
No matter she did, and no matter how crazy things get, she still is like, it's okay, Sparky.
okay.
And she does a little thing on his chin.
Okay, then we don't have to mark her as self-centered because she's trying to be supportive.
Okay, all right. Now,
These two are totally self-centered. I mean, just like maybe put them a coal on every.
are they? But they are. I mean, they're taking their
They're
whole family on
flying.
vacation.
No, his brother
the flights
is.
are paid for. Yeah.
Oh,
it's-
he's
His brother.
paying.
no,
No,
Uncle does
No,
His brother is.
Yeah.
no,
for the plane
Yeah.
fare.
no. Kevin's dad pays for it.
Uncle does.
Everyone thinks that Kevin's dad.
The uncle pays for it.
The
What about
uncle's
that
the
line
wealthy
where he
one.
says, "Your dad's paying good money for this trip"?
Uncle paid. Well, Uncle pays for the plane fare. I don't know about. I'm not sure if I know.
Where do you hear that?
I read about
Sadly,
it a bunch of times.
I read an article on what it would cost today to
Yeah.
do that
Yeah.
vacation.
Yeah, about
And
it'd be like buying a
he's-
house.
Rob pays for the flights.
Yeah, he's
Correct.
still up in first class.
Yeah.
He stays in Paris instead of getting on the plane to go back and get Kevin.
Now, I'm not sure about that one. So, in real life, if this had happened
Yeah.
and you had some set of kids in Europe and one kid back, do you send both parents back because they've got family support in Europe for the other two kids? Do you bring everyone back? I'm not so sure that splitting them was a bad.
He's not even like, no, I'll go.
Well,
He's like,
his other
we just
problem-
got here.
The biggest problem is when he doesn't he say, can we call a neighbor or something?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
He's
call it.
I mean, they're standing there and he's like, come on, just come back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't want to deal with this right
Yeah, we got to get out of this
Yeah.
airport.
now. Yeah,
They're both
yeah,
self-centered.
they're both self-centered. Okay, and okay, you're getting ahead of us there, Junior. So, I don't know.
I mean, I think Scott fights being self-centered the entire movie, but he ends up like not being self-centered. So
But that's part of the transformation.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all through it, I mean, even
he fights
even
it
while
the
he's
whole time.
he's fighting it the whole time.
even when he's
Yeah.
a big top toy executive, I'm like,
Yeah,
Like-
even when he won't drink the milk, I'm lactose intolerant.
yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
you little punk. Now go back to sleep.
Okay, so he's self-centered.
Okay, but
But-
however, throw this out there. He's a bachelor at this point, and for the men in the room, on an evening
That feels
where
personal.
where well, last I checked, Scott wasn't a woman. So for the men in the room, as picture yourself as a bachelor.
I want to know when he checked, but
on
go ahead.
Christmas Eve, no one's bothering you. You have no commitments, and he's rushing everywhere.
Yeah.
Get set up for the kid and he's taking his kid in.
Yeah.
And he buys him all the gifts. He tries to keep the kid in bed while he goes out and inspects a home intruder
True.
in his underwear in the snow.
All of these are the definition of self-centered.
I was going to say, how much of that is about
Like, why is he running around on Christmas Eve? Because he forgot.
or why is he doing it? I mean, we already know that he's got a problem with his relationship with his son. So is this more about, is it more about him again, trying to make himself feel better about
Where does
how
he take him to eat too? Like, don't they
Well,
have...
he tries to go. They try to go to this fancy Italian place.
Yeah.
Because remember, he goes, "You like ossobuco, Charlie?" Oh, they're
After
closed.
He tried making a turkey.
He did try to make a turkey, and that's why you need top quality fire extinguisher right in the kitchen. Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. He's fighting it the whole time, but fundamentally, he is self-centered. He's just fighting it.
Yeah,
I think that's the thing.
I mean, that's the transformation in the movie.
He
right?
learns to not be self-centered, but he is in the beginning.
Also, like, how many kids after watching that movie were like, I want to be a toy executive. Look at how much money this guy's raking in. Look at the lifestyle.
No, he drives a Ford Taurus.
Gets to order a sundae at breakfast or for lunch at the office.
Perhaps.
living.
All right, we're giving him coal. But now Laura/Neil,
No.
I think they're misguided on a lot of things, but they're not.
Yeah, they're going to be
they're
in
not
some of
all
these
about
other categories, but they're not
He
self-centered.
was
not
totally
self-centered.
self-centered. He wants to hear himself talk. He wants to hear this kid who's not him, who's not his, talk like him. And he goes on this big soapbox in front of that kid with the globe
Well,
and tries to crush his dreams and his.
I would mark that more under like the controlling category, though,
that's
not
true.
self-centered.
It's probably coming in under controlling.
If he was self-centered, he'd be like, "See you
Laura-
later, kid."
Laura's not really so.
Yeah.
I don't think she is.
So we'll let Laura keep the red. We won't let Neil spoil it for her, but he's probably going to kick her in the ass when we get to down to control. All right, this is the most fun one. So emotional. Now emotional. We're talking about not the good kind of emotional. It's because these are the bad traits. So we're talking about like emotional overreactions, etc. So or just dealing with things in an emotional manner, irrational.
lashing out irrationally.
Lashing out irrationally.
Both of these parents are emotional. That the dad like loses his shit about half the things in
About
the
the
movie.
furnace. I'm thinking about the furnace scene when he's.
And then the mom with
Cloud
the
of
lamp, I'm
obscenity
like,
still hovering over Lake Michigan. Yes.
I'm like, is the lamp really that big of a deal?
Yeah. Well,
But that's all him. What about her?
No, I'm saying like I think she's emotional about
let's
the
face
lamp.
it. She busted the lamp. And she used up all the glue on purpose.
you used up.
So she does. She's pretty. She's a bit emotional with Ralphie. Like,
I mean, I don't think anyone's blaming her for being emotional. She's freaking tired of making all the dinners and never
is
getting
true.
a hot meal. And
I don't know that she ever loses it. The mysterious lamp episode aside.
she also screams at the duck's head getting cut off, which I'm like, okay, that's a little bit much.
Oh yeah, that
it startled her though.
Yeah.
It just startled her. I mean,
Okay, fine. Then she's not emotional.
she's not emotional. All right, we're going with
I
not.
don't think she. I don't
Now-
think she over. She's. I don't think she overreacts.
Clark and Audrey.
Clark is highly emotional.
Well, wait a minute.
Ellen is like almost like disassociated, not
Why is
emotional
Clark
enough.
highly emotional.
What do you mean? He's like dressing up in his mom's clothes in the attic, crying, watching old family videos. He's like
Okay, but that's not bad.
crying at
That's not the bad kind
when
of
he
emotional.
gets his potential bonus. He's like
So so when I think about being a parent who's over emotional, like emotional reactions, the first thing everybody wants to ding Clark on is the rant, right?
yeah, I'm like
You know,
that's like the most emotionally charged Christmas movie moment in history.
But where's the Tylenol? But where's the Tylenol? But here's the thing: you got to take into account that up until that point, you have to think about everything that went wrong, all the shit that happened, everything that went wrong for him. I think Clark holds it together pretty well all the way up until that point where he just loses his shit.
No way, man. Like, one of the first scenes is him, like, getting into road rage with the freaking 18-wheeler.
Oh, yeah.
Then he tells his neighbor he's going to stick the Christmas tree up her ass.
I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah. He actually tells her husband.
He freaks out when he can't get the lights to work. Like, it's just a buildup of emotion.
The rant to me is in some respects acceptable. I mean, like all this is boiled over, and he finally boils over. Except for the triggering moment of
it's like the pressure lid popping off at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole scene with the lights where he loses it because he's got this big ornate thing, and then
Well, that's true, and he does beat the shit out of the Santa Claus and the reindeer and all that.
and
Yeah,
the whole road rage incident. Although when he ends up underneath,
it wasn't
that
really
truck,
road rage.
I
I mean,
Yeah.
laugh like
but Clark wasn't really like Clark didn't have the road rage. He was just like
he's flipping
he
them
was just kinda
off.
fucking with those guys. Like he wasn't. Well, I don't know. I guess maybe he was having
Yeah,
an emotional
dude.
reaction. Okay, we'll give Clark emotion. Ellen, I don't think.
No.
I think Ellen is.
She's a zombie.
which might also be an emotional response the wrong way.
But in terms of like, if you're a kid and you go, "Oh, my mother is so emotional,"
She never freaks out at anything in the movie, but she's also like, she's just got a sig habit, so it's probably
just a
keeping her
one
pretty
scene.
even.
It's just the one scene.
But she also completely ignores like all the other. There's one of my favorite lines where they're talking about. I don't know what to tell you. It's Christmas. We're all miserable.
We're all miserable.
Or I don't know what you're complaining. I'm sleeping with your father.
Yeah.
Just completely not.
And Eddie does lick the Jello off her finger, and she holds it together.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So okay, so now the McAllisters.
The dad is not emotional at all. The mom is like super emotional.
The mom is
It's kind of the opposite, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's so self-centered that he's just
right, and she's like,
She's berating airline ticket workers. She's screaming on a plane in first class.
well, and that whole scene where
She's telling Kevin to get up in the attic.
right, and the whole scene where she's up there with him, and he's like, I don't want to see the rest of you for my whole life, and she's like, obviously, she's saying all the wrong things to this kid right now because she's having an emotional response. So the mom gets one. All right, it's a lot of coal on this. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of coal. All right,
there's only one. There's only one so far.
without coal. Charlie's parents.
I feel like Neil is emotional. The mom is not. She's like, come on, Scott. But Scott's definitely emotional because he's freaking out. But I mean, he's becoming Santa, so I would probably freak out about those things too.
So as a parent,
I don't know.
if you're the kid,
Oh yeah, he like really becomes a good dad to Charlie.
But I don't think, as parents, I don't think either one of them are overly
I don't
like
think so.
lose their shit when
No.
something's going on,
or freak out, or
and even with everything he's struggling with, I don't know that he projects that onto Charlie from
It's true.
from
Yeah.
a parent's point of view.
So maybe neither are emotional, unless you want to mark Neil as emotional because he
some
cries over
things.
the
Niels,
Oscar Mayer Wiener whistle at the end.
Neil's just we gotta we can't let him. I mean, now
his emotional doesn't, as opposed to maybe down the line here, his action doesn't, his emotional reaction doesn't affect her emotional reaction.
Yeah.
but what about the whole thing? So the whole thing where I think that this is going to come under controlling more. I was thinking about where so Charlie comes home. He says they went to the North Pole. Dad took me to the North Pole.
Oh,
They-
that's definitely
They
controlling.
can't just blow it off, right? They have to
Yeah.
Address.
Okay, all right. So that's coming later. All right,
So then they can both stay.
so being a bad example, I think the tirades of profanity with Furnace probably
not
make the
great
dad-
example.
make the
No way,
make the
man.
old man a bad example.
I don't think that's a bad example. I just think that's like one of those things where kids start to learn that their parents are like adults. Like the older that you get, the more you start to find out, like, oh my God, my parents are people, not just my parents. They have like
still
their own
waiting for my mom,
identities.
and actually, my parents are in their 80s, and I haven't figured out whether they're actual people or not. I don't know, Trev. What do you think? Is that as the youngest among us? Is that a bad example? The dad?
No, he wasn't in the presence of the kids, so they could hear him. But he was.
But in the profanity, there's that line in the movie where where Ralphie knows that it's wrong to curse, right?
Yeah.
As often as I've heard my old man use,
Yeah.
he blames it on son. So he knows that it's a bad example. Like he knows this is wrong, and he knows that it's coming directly from his dad. Now, as realistic as that is in real life, which is what makes it funny.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not with the young. Everyone knows it's wrong. Everyone knows that that's not the way you should react, not the way you should behave, and yet.
But like in the grand scheme of like bad things that like the rest of these parents are doing, like dad's still taking him to the parades, going to the mall, he's telling him to relax about Santa, that he's going to know what he wants. He gets him what he wants for Christmas. He doesn't freak out when Ralphie says, oh, fudge, when they're changing the tire. He's like,
Except he didn't
get
say
in the
fudge.
car.
Also, he's the most into it when he takes the family out to the parade and everything.
Yeah.
He's keeping up.
He's paying attention.
Yeah, all that stuff notwithstanding, we're just talking about whether he's a bad example,
And
whether.
I don't think it's a
the
bad
fact that
example.
Ralphie knows it's bad.
So if somebody sets a bad example, it's not a bad example if the person on the other side knows that it's a bad example.
Because they raised him to know that's bad.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Kayla's
All right.
point about how, you're getting older as a kid and you learn your parents are human beings.
Yeah.
And this may go to the setting of the time in the movie. If I think about what things does he do that sets a bad example, besides the obvious cursing, which is a whole great scene. There's the scene with the newspaper at the kitchen table where he's just not paying any attention.
Well, he's trying to win an award.
It's a major award. So my take on this is I actually think in our society today, we put way too much, we're way too preoccupied with like language. Is it really like if I'm trying to raise you to be a good person, does it really fucking matter what kind of language I use? Right? Like
Time and place, right? I mean, the lesson's time and place.
the lessons and right. And so who do you right? What do you say in front of who? Da da da. But
Right.
those aren't really the character things. So your point is what really sets a bad example more than whatever language he uses is how does he behave in certain scenarios, right? Am I engaged with my family? Am I showing the right character virtues,
Right.
Yeah.
or not? I think language is really not.
I mean, like, let's use this. Clark and him both go to the mall. Does Ralphie catch his dad hitting on the lingerie sales lady?
That is definitely.
That is definitely a bad example.
We're gonna go ahead and give Clark one now. So we don't forget about it later. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm with
No,
you.
I don't think he's a bad dad. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think.
but
Yeah.
He's got some flaws.
He has
Yeah.
some flaws, but he doesn't set a bad example for his kids.
Yeah.
And neither does the mom. Ellen.
Now, mom's worse. Hold on. So,
Oh.
and maybe this is under controlling. I think like she's just mom throughout it. The only misstep for me in that whole movie for her is when she calls to tell the other mom.
Yes.
Right.
I hate that part.
It's-
I'm like,
Why?
Like, why
I
are
do
you-
that all the time.
Do you know what your son said to my
Oh, yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Because there's like a mom network
mom
where
code that
we're
says
watching.
We're watching the other
And
kid?
like sometimes we just actively have the conversation out loud. We're like, hey, if my kid's ever being a little shithead,
I wanna know
I want
about
you to know, I want you to call me immediately or let me know.
But I don't get the feeling
sure
that
how I
that's
feel
her.
about that.
I get it's the one time in the movie where I get the feeling that she's trying to transfer
I don't think she's a bad
blame.
example.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to do. I'm
Yeah.
just. It's the one thing that bugs me
that
about
one
it.
always, it always bugged me.
Bothered
No,
me.
it's my favorite part of the
Because
movie.
She jumps straight to punishment.
But here's another thing, a little double standard, right? Ralphie gets in a fight. She doesn't tell Ralphie's dad, but...
Well, she tells him, but she's like, oh, you
that's
know,
true. Yeah, she does
boys.
tell him. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And dad being dad goes,
Oh, it's not the fight. It's
okay, fine.
Oh, no. This makes it even worse. So she hears Ralphie unleashing a tirade of profanity, and she doesn't tell his dad. But poor little Schwartz is credited with getting
getting
Ralphie
his.
one word.
Well, Schwartz
He's getting his.
Schwartz probably needed to get his anyway, so it all
That's
comes out in the
probably
wash.
true. But the poor kid didn't know what he was getting his for at the time.
He did get his tongue stuck to the pole. I mean, that was pretty bad.
I love how the mom sounds on the other line too.
All right. So anyway, it's not a bad example. What about Ellen?
I don't think she's a bad example.
I think she's actually a good example for, I mean,
Trying to hold it all together. It's hard to tell outside of the
because
Christmas season.
There's such a shit show going
Yeah.
on.
Right.
Honestly, that you can't really,
I
all
think
right.
she's a great example of how the mother of a home keeps together the
appeases the
pinnacle of
world.
chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Okay.
Okay, she keeps her little red box. What about the McAllisters?
Yes.
I mean, I was going for giving them coal straight down, so there's like nothing that I really find redeeming about these
I
parents.
mean,
like,
I'm with
not
you,
a
actually.
thing.
There's very little I find appealing about
so what? But what kind of a bad example do they set?
Well, they put up with his asshole brother and the way that he talks to their kids.
Yeah.
They are definitely like super rich, and it's mostly about like the gifts and the things that have to be done.
So there's kind of a whole like materialistic example being set. Like
Yeah.
this is what life is all about,
Yeah.
right?
And they didn't make their kids be nice to their old neighbor. What the hell? I make my kids be nice
He
to
was
our
scary.
old neighbors.
He was scary.
He's not that
And
scary.
he killed people and put them with the salt in the bucket.
He's not that scary.
That's a bad example.
He saves Kevin.
All right.
I think they're both about
They're both okay. They're just both. We're just
you can see where this is going.
through those guys.
They can't come back.
Yeah, the McAllisters are not looking good, folks.
Yeah.
They're cold out.
This is kind of like our current Republican primary. We're really just interested in who comes in second. We already know who's coming in first.
It's kind of funny. We didn't give the dad the emotional coal, but it's for a bad reason. That's not a redeeming box.
Right. He's not emotional because he just has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, what about Scott and Laura / Neil?
I don't think
Laura's
they're.
a horrible example.
Oh, I don't think they're bad examples.
She's terrible.
Why?
She does not think for herself at all. She takes.
Oh, that's a good point.
She's just focused on trying to please others without any sort of end game.
So she's not really a bad example of like what we typically consider of bad behavior, but she's not setting a good example as
I
somebody.
mean, the
who's-
fact that she's not in the loony bin with an ex-husband that thinks he's Santa Claus and has their kid believing that
he
he's
doesn't
Santa
think
Claus,
he's Santa Claus.
and she's dating this
is
like psychobabble guy who's got terrible sweaters and is always talking to her like she's a child.
I kind of like the second sweater. I always thought the second sweater was okay.
No.
Is that the one that they check?
When he goes, "Did we make this?"
Did we make this?
But I was there in the 90s as an adult for those sweaters.
Yeah.
Like Bill Cosby could really rock those sweaters. Yeah. He rocked a few other things at the same time.
I don't think either are a bad example.
No?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know that either of them are necessarily bad.
Yeah. Not in terms of being.
If anything, Scott is as a sort of a disconnected individual might be a.
I mean, when we think of parents setting a bad example for their kids, we're usually thinking of parents displaying certain behavior or values or traits that, now your kids are going to be like
Right.
that. I kind of lean, but
how you
I think you have a
respond to
point about, if your parents, you're supposed to look to your parents also as
Good
examples, and Laura is not teaching her just by her example. Her kid is not learning to have to be an independent thinker and to be confident and right.
Laura, I don't remember who initiated the divorce or if it's stated, but she is seeking a divorce with a young child, and she's living with a man she's not, while she's married still to another one. For what reasons?
No, wait, they were already
They're
divorced.
divorced.
They're
It's the child custody thing that's in
okay.
play.
It's child custody.
Okay, still, I don't remember exactly why or who initiated it, but she has a child, and just like the separation, having a child.
I don't think she's a bad example. She also never talks shit about Scott to their kid,
That's true.
which she had plenty of opportunity.
The one mom in the room is saying that Laura's not a bad example, so we're going to have to go with that. Although I do take your point. I think that's
I will vote that she is controlling.
we're getting to that. We're getting to that.
I feel like I got to give you guys some bad points on Laura.
All right, so we're down to controlling, right?
Yep.
Ralphie's mom. I mean, I wouldn't call her the best example of controlling. Like, she's not the worst, the most controlling person.
She's controlling.
She manipulates events.
She does.
Yeah.
Like what, for example?
Well, I mean, she's controlling the narrative. She isn't really controlling from the standpoint of you go do this, you go do that, right? I want you to do this, this is what I'm thinking, so this is what you should
Well,
think.
controlling people are usually, when we talk about controlling, we usually mean people who want things to go the way they want them to go, and so they do things to make them go that way.
Oh,
right?
she's
Yeah,
super
but-
controlling.
No, we're not talking about being bossy. We're talking about trying to control this.
Well, I mean, I guess is composed in Neil, who I find controlling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through you should think like this.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
She never comes across. She's much more subtle.
Yeah.
She's manipulating events kind of behind the scenes, so that things play out kind of the way she wants them to play.
Okay, so I'll throw out here to the mom in the room. Does a mother hold some of that responsibility of kind of doing that? Like,
They do in my
you
house.
have
Like the way
Absolutely.
the way she bundles Randy up to walk to school and he can't even walk. The way she's like, "Isn't your radio program on now?" Gets the kids hooked on Little Orphan Annie. The way that she's like, hard no, not even talking to dad on the BB gun.
Yeah.
So she is kind of like
The soap in the mouth.
manipulating things a certain way.
Yeah,
but
I think
that's
she's
the role of the
controlling.
mother.
Okay.
No, that's like
I'll give you that.
Does she, maybe like she has to be that way.
It's the mom's subtlety of.
I would bucket
No
under
sign of
controlling.
that relationship. None of that's coming from the old man.
I would
That's true.
mark her controlling.
I feel like, yeah, I feel like she's manipulating things.
Well, because if she doesn't, then
I
what?
think she is.
Then Randy goes to school in normal clothes, just like everyone
And
else.
by the way, let's not forget that she did
And learns that they got cold, and so maybe I should put a jacket on next time.
she did destroy the lamp and deny it.
That's
So
true.
she did.
She gaslit
Yeah.
him. That's
That's
one of
yeah.
those popular words right now.
And she was pretty. She was pretty snotty about the Christmas tree too. So
Yeah. So okay, we're giving her a call on controlling.
She never let him have anything.
yeah,
No.
the dad's not controlling.
No.
Not really a controlling face.
Yeah.
That is who is in control.
You know what? You know what that is? You know that's when he's standing there. The dogs have just eaten the turkey, and he's standing there in the kitchen holding the wing in his hand like this,
Yeah.
and looking.
Yeah,
All right.
Ellen's not controlling. Clark is hyper controlling.
Yes.
Is Clark trying to? He's trying to control circumstances, but
Yeah, he's trying to
as
make.
a parent, is he controlling of his kids?
But what?
But he's so controlling of Christmas that everyone just kind of gets sucked into the vortex of his control over Christmas.
He's not controlling real life. He's controlling the
event.
fictional.
All right, let me
life
ask you
that
this way,
he's created in his head.
and I'm putting up a fight because I feel like Clark doesn't deserve 5 calls.
No, he's the worst.
So if you were Russ or Audrey, and you're going to school and you're talking to your friends, would you say, "My dad is so controlling"?
Yes,
You would?
yes.
I feel like he lets them do pretty much whatever they
No,
want.
I guess I wouldn't. I see your point. I'm not sure that.
Nope. He makes Russ get up and help him with the lights. He makes
But as a
Audrey.
Every
As a
dad does
son.
that. That's my son's favorite.
As a son,
Scene.
that's what
He makes them march
That's
through
what's
snow
You're
to go get
supposed
the
to
Christmas
do
tree.
all the crazy stuff your dad tells you to do.
I think he's
Theoretically.
controlling. Stop trying to be so nice to Clark. He's
I like Clark. I mean,
yeah, but
his
I
heart's in
feel
the right.
bad
Watching-
for Clark.
watching him in that movie gives anyone anxiety about Christmas. That's like what
so
it's designed
bad.
to make you feel better about your own Christmas.
I'm with you on this.
Yeah, we're not
I
giving
don't
Clark.
think
We're not giving Clark Clark.
I could defend.
I'm over.
not-
I gave you Laura. I'm
Okay,
taking
fine,
Clark.
fine. Okay, but the Home Alone mom is controlling,
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
controlling enough for all of them, I think.
Yeah.
and the dad doesn't even know where he is.
The McAllister dad and the Christmas Story dad are
Pretty similar.
looking pretty.
They're
By the chart,
they're pretty so yeah. Well,
they complete each other.
Well, the problem with McAllister dad is he doesn't really have any redeeming like Christmas Story. At the end, you kind of understand that dad's paying attention. He knows what people are. He deals with the dinner. He knows what's going on with the Christmas presents. Like he's been paying attention all year long, and
right.
Yeah.
you know,
He's
Man,
kind of
we just wiped out all
like
the
she said, like a
votes.
traditional old dad.
Yeah.
What happened?
What?
I don't know what happened.
What?
I'm refreshed.
we're restarting.
I was sitting here with my hands back.
We took too long.
I don't
Wait. Okay.
it?
So
hear.
the McAllisters were. Oh shit.
Do you remember? There we go.
There it is. That's what we recreated the whole thing. I don't know how that happened. All right, so obviously the McAllisters lose, which is kind of what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of know it going.
They have 3.5 pieces of coal. Let's see who comes in second.
It's them.
It's Clark and
And
No,
then
they're
it's,
tied.
And then it's a tie.
They're tied.
Christmas Story and Santa Claus.
Clark and Eleanor in second, right? They got
Yeah.
they got 2.5 pieces of coal, and then it's 1.5 each. Now let's look at it a different way. Who's the worst individual parent? I mean,
Clark.
Yeah.
well, and the mom,
And the mom.
rather,
Clark and the Home Alone mom. You put
and,
those into a couple.
Kevin's mom.
Kids are going to CPS.
Yeah. So we don't want to. Yeah.
To which
See, funny if
that's right.
If you had asked me before we started, I would have put the two Home Alones as the worst, with Clark just being so flipping out of control over
Nutty.
Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. All right.
Okay, so then between the two that are tied, who do you think has the most redeeming qualities?
Christmas Story parents. For sure. They didn't have any. They didn't have like TV,
I agree.
and their kids
I
were still
agree.
happy.
Y'all didn't ding Laura for anything. That Cole's
Laura's going through it, man. She's married
Controlling.
to Santa Claus,
Oh,
or
that's
she's
true.
her ex is Santa Claus.
I feel like Laura. It seems like we let her off the hook.
No
Well, no, I mean, we're talking about
parenting.
parenting.
and she divorced.
She isn't necessarily good or bad. I mean, I wouldn't stand her up as here's an example of a
Yeah.
good parent.
Right. So if we did the same thing and we had like the way that you're
Who's the
supposed to
best
be,
to
she's
be.
not scoring real high on that either.
Yeah.
She's just
So do you think
she's kind of a
trying
nothing.
the most out of all these parents? You think she's trying the hardest?
Yes,
Who? Laura. I would say the best.
She's
parent
got the
out of
most
all
difficult
is
circumstances.
the Christmas.
yeah. The Christmas Story
mom.
parents are the best.
Yeah.
Christmas Story mom is definitely the best.
Yeah. And the dad,
I don't have a problem with the dad, but
yeah, he's
Laura's not having an easy time, y'all.
and we said that the dad that Ralphie's dad, we said he was self-centered because he was sort of preoccupied with his own things, but as you pointed out, both of you pointed out, there are times when he clearly is, his family is more important to him than himself.
he's paying attention.
So we could go,
Yeah.
and he's having fun and he's doing all that. All right, we got through it. Oh, look at that, just under an hour.
Okay, so then I've got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
The bonus question: which woman on this list has the most abhorrent hairstyle?
The worst hair. Which Christmas Story mom has the worst hair?
The Christmas Story mom, for sure. The way she wears it, like with
Wait a
rags,
minute.
everything.
How can you not say Laura's hair? Laura's hair is horrible.
That was trendy in the 90s, man. That's like what the supermodels were wearing.
I was in the 90s. That was trendy.
Yeah.
What's trendy? Just because something's trendy, it's good.
I think that Ralphie's mom's hair, the only problem with it is that it's not.
She never
nobody
does
in the
it. It's
40s
disheveled.
Nobody in the 40s had hair like that.
Yeah.
Like if she were in the 70s, it'd be fine. But she's supposed to
she'd
be
be
in the 40s.
completely
She had the worst hair.
I don't know.
funny.
But the Home Alone moms also got that Karen hairstyle going.
Oh, that was super popular in the 90s too, man.
but it's
Celine Dion used to wear her hair like that.
Nazism was popular, but we're not.
I'm not sure any of them
off
are
the
considered
trendy.
great right now.
Yeah, Scott, you're not commenting on the hair?
I don't know.
You're not really.
Gotta be Laura.
Laura's. Yeah. Let's just say whose hair looks the worst,
Now,
like on her.
Laura's hair.
Laura's hair looks the worst on
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not saying whose is the most out of line with styles. We're saying
Yeah.
whose hair. Here's what I always thought about Laura's hair was, what person on the set that did the hair and the makeup said, "Here's what we want to do.
We're gonna do this.
Let's do this." Like of all the things they
Dutch
could have done,
boy,
let's do this.
I bet Neil made her get that.
Neil made it.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because of the psychology of it all, it directs the straight lines direct your thoughts and aligns your chakra or some bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I think we're done. Is this it? We
right.
killed it. We killed it.
Whose kid has got the best future? Do you think? Not taking into account all the bullshit sequels.
Kid's got the
This kid's got the best future.
Home Alone because they're rich.
Oh, that's not it.
How many?
Oh, please.
How many rich kids who grew up in a rich household or a popular household kill themselves?
I don't know. How many? Kayla's leaving. She's out of here.
Like, I gotta use the bathroom.
She's gone.
Gotta be a Santa Claus
She's
kid.
gone.
They could get hooked on fentanyl.
I don't know. Would you see him later? He turns out to be kind of a.
No bullshit sequels.
Oh, okay.
By Disney.
That's fair enough. The sequels do suck.
Ralphie.
I think Ralphie's got a pretty good future.
I would have put Ralphie second, but I felt like in the first movie, Santa Claus, that he was the one that kind of was owning his situation.
Yeah.
Ralphie is. I mean, I think Ralphie is gonna. He would be fine, but he's gonna end up being.
Yeah, and Charlie in the Santa Claus, through the whole thing, he's kind of like wise beyond his years.
Yeah.
Right. Like he knows what's going on.
He's got the belief. He knows what's going on.
He's like, this is what we got to do. So he's kind of got leadership qualities right from the beginning. So to answer your question, Trev, it might be Charlie that has the best future, but it's not because of his parents. It's just because he's got shit figured out.